Hi guys, welcome to our daily encounter. In the book of Deuteronomy, Moses is going over a lot of different laws and ways that the people ought to treat one another. And a lot of it is really what we would call today common courtesy. Although this courtesy perhaps wasn't so common back in that day and age, and they needed to have these various examples of what it means to be helpful, how to be courteous and kind, and things like that. And one of the commandments that we come across in Deuteronomy 22 is how you ought to act when perhaps one of your neighbor's animals begin to wander onto your property, and you come across that animal. What should you do? And this is what it says, starting in verse 1. It says, "You shall not see your countryman's ox or his sheep straying away, and pay no attention to them. You shall certainly bring them back to your countrymen." And so if you see an animal going astray, you weren't supposed to just ignore it. You were supposed to be proactive and see to it that your neighbor gets their animal back. And he goes on to say that you try to bring the animal back to your neighbor either immediately, or if you don't know whose animal it is, hold on to the animal, and maybe the neighbor will come looking for the animal. But the main thing is that your priority ought to be that you restore your neighbor's animal back to him. And so we consider that kind of common courtesy. I live out in the country, and oftentimes my neighbor's cows get out, and it's only the right thing to do to make sure that my neighbor gets his animal back on his property once again. And this was a part of God's law. It's just something that you ought to do. It's just, again, common courtesy. Well, as we think about this in the context of God, we have to see that God himself has a lot of wandering animals. In Isaiah chapter 53, it says, "All we like sheep have gone astray." Whenever people begin to sin and rebel against God and to reject God, they become like a wandering animal, to stick with the metaphor. And God has a lot of lost sheep in this world. And so it's just common courtesy that we ought to bring those people back to the Lord, to say, you know what, this individual is a lost sheep. This is a person who has wandered away from his or her master, that is, from God himself. And so it ought to be that we would be very intent on bringing that person back to the Lord, to bring them back to their master, to their God, and to restore them once again to the one who is their rightful owner. And so as we go through this week, this upcoming week, let's be looking for lost sheep. Let's be looking for lost animals, lost people, lost souls who have wandered from their master, and do what we can to guide them back to the one who has given them life, the one who is their creator. And I think this is the right thing to do. It would be showing the right courtesy, common courtesy, to restore them back to their creator. So here's some things we can think about and reflect on as we do our readings today. With that, guys, I do thank you for watching the video today. Hope you guys have a great day. Love you guys. God bless.